Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Chat with Lindsey and Neely.
Hey, y'all.
Again, I feel like we just coordinate really well with our colors.
We really do. I mean, it's
Like,
almost like
it's
we're
so
one.
fall.
Yeah, we are one and the same. We just
Yeah,
constantly are on the same wavelengths with
it's
things.
perfect. You'd
It
think
works.
we planned these things.
Yeah, right. The amount of things I plan in my life comes up to a big old like goose egg plus 0.001.
There you go. Well, if you are here watching, one of the 19 I see watching so far, please leave a chat in the live chat section.
Yeah, let us
Let
know
us
what's going on.
know what you're drinking, possibly where you are listening from. Maybe if you want to share the weather, that's all good topics of conversation.
Yeah, at least in lunch. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to guess what I got going on in this cup.
Um, Chai tea latte.
I have black decaf coffee, Neely.
What? Surprise. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to guess what's in my cup.
Chai tea latte.
Coffee with cream.
You threw me. You threw me hard.
Oh, goodness. Yes. And again, I'm happy that the coffee is warm and I hope it stays warm for a while because our house is very cold. We're
Oh,
trying to not turn on the furnace for as long as we can stand it and save a little bit of money. So we're heating with the fireplace, but it is not very efficient besides just in the living room.
and I'm
So
sure
I've been
live
so
streaming
cold.
right?
Yeah. So I've been so cold. Yeah, all the kids fight for the coffee table to do their schoolwork at because it's right by the fireplace. Yeah.
Okay, solid question. Is it warmer outside than it is in your home?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but it is possible.
I mean,
Yeah, I'd have to check it
arguably, it might be worth it to go outside and find a patch of sun.
out. Well, there's no sun this morning, sadly.
Oh, so they're probably doing the best that they can.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Okay, but another follow-up question. Are they at least all wearing socks and some form of like sweater or longer sleeved clothing? My
They're obsessed with walking around with giant blankets over their entire bodies.
girls.
And they're, like, trying to do their chores with giant blankets, and I'm like, "No, we
That's
have
not
so
working.
many other options that work so much better
A
when you're
phone,
actually trying to get something done."
a jacket, some gloves, perhaps.
Yes, long sleeves, they're walking around in shorts with a blanket wrapped around them.
Okay,
Come on,
I
guys.
want to talk about that for 12 seconds. One of my kids will constantly be like, it's cold outside. It's chilly in the house because we don't usually try to get too far off. I mean, if it's 30 degrees outside, we're going to have the house up to like 64 or 65. But we're not trying to make it so comfortable that you feel like you could wander around in a tank top and shorts.
Right, that costs a
Like
lot of money.
we're in winter, or we're not now, but in general, it's like, and
Yes.
yet this child likes to walk around in summer pajamas, no socks, wet hair, and then complain that it's
And then
cold.
complain.
And I'm like, I have given you every single tool
Yeah.
and the encouragement and the permission to go and put on as many layers of clothing as you see fit, because I don't actually physically do every bit of your laundry anymore. I have moved you onto the bucket of you're capable of
Mhm.
doing the laundry for your room yourself. So you're welcome to put on all those clothes. And I'm not upset. Um, but I'm thinking she's the one that's like, oh, I have to actually do that laundry if I use it. So maybe if I don't use it, that'll be better. But then that means I complain, which then creates mom's stress level just like up and
Yeah,
up.
I'm constantly telling the kids, "You're not allowed to complain if there's something you can do about it. If you
Solid
have
advice.
exhausted all of your options, then come talk to me. I'm here for you. But if there are, like, 5 steps that you can still do, don't talk to me, please."
I mean, and I want the girls to be like, I have this problem. And, oftentimes we have problems that we can't see the path forward or see the next possible step. So we need someone on the outside to say, hey, okay, have you tried this thing? But like,
Mhm.
that means that you're not complaining about it. You're saying, I have this problem. How do I take my next step? Like that kind of
problem
language.
solving.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
I'm happy to encourage. I'm also happy to give 18 options as a list and let you pick and choose which ones like apply to you. What I'm not willing to do is A, hear the complaining, but then B, get shot down on everything and then have more complaining on top of that. Because that's sometimes the path they choose. Sometimes they choose the path of violence.
It's so surprising how similar our experiences are. Like some of these are just like universal parent-child things.
Conundrums.
It's kind of like that's how it is.
Yeah, it's a good
All
time.
right. Well, let's say hello to some people in the chat. We have Crystal here. Good morning. She says, hey, y'all, to all. I love that she said, hey, y'all, to all, first of all. That's amazing.
That's fantastic.
I sent so I have a lot of family from the South. My mom was from North Carolina or South Carolina. Anyways, and then a lot of my family lives in Texas now. So even my younger siblings have like an accent now. Anyways, because they moved there after and there was a reel that I saw and it was like guys from the North trying to say y'all. It was really funny. I was like, oh, that's how it be.
That's no different than somebody from the South trying to say use guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that doesn't work.
I don't know what the Pacific Northwest would really have as sort of like a hey y'all kind of a thing, but Pacific Northwest style.
Yeah, it's just guys.
Like hi.
Yeah, I think it's guys, although now that's too gender specific. So, or it's, anyways, you can't use a masculine for everybody. It has to be all inclusive. Anyways,
yeah,
it gets complicated, is what I'm saying here in the Pacific Northwest. It gets real complicated.
That's whenever it's like, hello, fellow humans.
Yes. Can we all agree that we're humans? I mean, some people don't even want to agree on that. So you still have to be careful.
We cannot tailor it to everybody. We can't do it.
Risa is here. Good day. Yeah, we should start saying good day. That's a
good day, Risa.
It works for good morning and good afternoon.
It's not wrong, but also I feel like I appropriated an Australian accent where I ought not.
Or we could say bonjour.
I did take French in school, so that feels good.
Lynette is here, just having water in Texas.
Well, there you go.
Rickwin is here. I know, like, does anybody just drink water anymore?
This is just water.
Excellent.
And I actually put ice in it because it's actually kind of warm today. And I was like,
ice? You don't do ice?
I don't typically do ice. I don't.
Yeah, that's weird. Rickwin is here. Beth is here drinking LMNT in Vegas. Sounds like a good day.
Fancy.
Jennifer is here. Purple Love and Nona is here in Wisconsin. Is that Wisconsin? Yeah.
Yes. Is Wisconsin.
Where it's strangely warm. I heard it was warm in Chicago today too. I don't know what is up with that, but I wish it was warm here.
Here
we're just like 50 degrees. Just not cold, but it's not warm either.
I do find that 50 degrees when it's sunny out feels very different from 50 degrees whenever it's overcast. So
yeah, it's definitely the overcast one.
Plays a big part.
So I'll share a weird experience this morning. I had to go and pick up my Azure Standard order this morning. It's a food drop thing. Anyways, so it was early. It was like an 8 a.m. drop. So it was, pretty early in the morning. And I start driving and just down on the road was a dead deer that someone had hit last night. And it was, squished. I was like, oh gosh. And so I went past that and then I go up a little bit farther and I see something on the road and I was like, is that a coyote? And then I got closer and it was a dog, someone's dog eating roadkill bunny.
Oh,
I was like, what is going on? And then I drive past that carefully. And there's another roadkill bunny, just not, half a mile up the road. And I was like,
it is not a good day for prey.
Does this have something to do with, Halloween being tomorrow? Like, what is up with all of these dead animals on the road? And then on the way home, I actually saw a live deer run across the road in front of me. And It was just wildlife morning, but it was really strange. It was
Yeah.
very strange. Like, and it was all misty in the morning, and yeah, it was kind of surreal.
I don't have any fun stories like that for today.
Okay,
I
good.
dropped a
Good animal
kettlebell
stories are not, fun.
I dropped a kettlebell on the concrete floor in the garage, so
Oh
that
no,
startled me.
that probably has something to do with Halloween too.
Definitely.
Progress and Transformation is here from New York City. Bonnie is here from snowy Anchorage. Oh, we had
Oh,
a foot of
jealous.
snow on Monday. Wow.
So jealous.
Yeah. Exchange student is here. Let's see. See if there's anybody else I missed. Beth is here. Already said Beth. Let's see. Oh, Lainey is here from Western Australia. Uh-oh, we used our bad Australian accents earlier. I hope we didn't offend.
We did use that. Well, you used less of it than I did. The girls, they're like obsessed with the fact that like I just pull out an accent. It may or may not be accurate, but they love it. So it's hard to not.
Crystal says earlier I had a chocolate toffee KetoChow. That's a good way to
With
start the day.
butter
And I've never done half butter, half tallow. That sounds
That's
good.
a great idea.
Yeah, a serving of daily minerals and 10 extra sucra drops. It really tasted like a glazed donut. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Sounds so good.
Sounds amazing. If it wasn't so cold, I'd be more excited about it. I gotta like turn on the space heater in my little room up here and get it like really blazing hot, and then bring my KetoChow to drink.
Oh, cold. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like in the middle of summer when I get a hot coffee and I just crank up the air conditioning as high as it'll go and sit in my car and drink my hot coffee. You gotta do what you gotta do. That's what I'm saying. It's in the 70s here in Georgia, says Rickwin. Yeah, still in summer clothes.
I mean, I'm still, it flip-flops till the snow drops around these parts for me.
Exchange student says, element in my cup. I'm down to the last ones working on the sample pack. Is it the chocolate sample pack or is it the regular? Because I know they sent out like the chocolate medley sample packs, which is so fun. Yeah.
Nope.
Go ahead.
No, I had a fleeting thought, but it fleeted fast.
Okay. Exchange student says, we've beat element like a dead horse already, though. I so agree. It's been a week.
It's definitely been a thing.
Yeah. And Chris and Miriam had a great live stream yesterday where they really gave a lot of information about natural flavors and all that can mean and what it's like being a manufacturer that works with these companies. So if you're curious about like all the ins and outs and details, check out that video. Yeah, you can skip into it when they start talking about natural flavors, and it really is insightful.
Agreed. Also, if you it's one of those ones that you can listen to 1.5 to 2x.
That's what I did.
Some reasonable amount of understanding. In fact, I think it works better at 1.5 to 2x. I did it at 2x because it kind of kept my pace going today on my walking pad. But yeah, I felt like they definitely gave much explanation, which helped tremendously.
Yeah. So a little bit of more information that I've gotten since I made my element video. And I heard this via Maria Emmerich. She said that Craig talked to Rob Wolf, and as far as like next steps for what they're going to do, because obviously all of this happened and then they have to decide what they're going to do with all of it. And apparently their first step is to try to switch out the type of maltodextrin that they use to one that is not corn based. So apparently there's tapioca maltodextrin and there's other ones. There's like maltodextrin and others. And apparently Chris and Miriam said that Redmond is also trying to switch to a tapioca maltodextrin. And I think part of the disconnect for a lot of people in the keto and carnivore community is that both Redmond and LMNT are not necessarily keto companies. They're not, even though they do, market them as keto certified because they are low enough carbs. LMNT was started by Rob Wolf, who is very big in paleo, and that's not necessarily a low carb diet. And then Redmond caters to all kinds of, people just trying to be healthy, whether it's from vegetarian to carnivore. And so I think that's part of the reason that both companies have not been as motivated to change the carrier of their flavoring as KetoChow, because they are very much a keto company catering, with even in the name, catering just to keto people or primarily to keto people. So I don't see LMNT and Redmond as motivated to make as big of a change, because it is more expensive to go to something like acacia fiber, like Chris Miriam said. And also they were saying in the live stream last night that it can gum up the works of different machines because it doesn't work as well as maltodextrin. So if you're coming from the place of thinking carbohydrates aren't necessarily evil, and we, have a framework that includes many carbohydrates in our diet, and we're not concerned about it, then I don't think the motivation to change to something that's more expensive and more difficult to work with is, as prevalent. And like in the keto or in the paleo world, tapioca is a perfectly acceptable ingredient, and thing that, it's grain free and, perfectly fine in a lot of paleo diet recipes and things. And so them moving that direction kind of makes sense. And I understand that that's probably going to be frustrating to keto and carnivore people who do have that mindset of, all carbs are bad and we should have them as low as possible. And then I'll say this real quick. There's a lot of comments that I've gotten and seen saying it's not about the blood glucose, it's about the insulin, which I totally understand. And I am going to be doing a video here really soon talking about my own insulin, because I have had it checked recently, and I've checked it multiple times in the past couple of years since I've used LMNT. So I'll give some more information there. But again, it's like 0.4 grams of maltodextrin. I've heard it said that it spikes insulin 3 times as much as sugar or glucose, something like that. And so it's like, okay, well, 0.4 grams of maltodextrin would spike your insulin as much as 1.2 grams of sugar. People in the paleo world that are not necessarily keto or low carb, that's not a concern. If you're eating 200 grams of carbs a day, you're not worried about something that's going to spike your insulin as much as 1.2 grams of sugar, if you know what I mean. And so I get that it's, really upsetting to someone who's trying to get as low carb as possible, as low insulin as possible, but recognize that to a lot of people that have a different kind of framework about their diet, it's not as big of a deal. And that, I think there's a lot of frustration there, because people, if something is a big deal to you, you want it to be a big deal to everybody else. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there that I hope that we can just kind of learn about other people and try to understand other people and put ourselves in other people's shoes, rather than just assigning, malicious intent. It's like, just because it's not as important to this person doesn't mean that they're evil because they did it, if that makes sense. But yes, we have beaten this whole element thing into the ground, and I am very happy talking about something else, unless people have more questions or, things that they want to try to get clarified.
Well, I actually would like to deviate quite a quite a far I want to take a hard right here.
Yeah.
Low Carb Spin is here. Hello.
Yay.
They just put out a video about their Keto Palooza good
fun.
bag, their swag bag. And they made a recipe with one of the ingredients or one of the products in their swag bag. And I was blown away by what it looked like at the end. I was utterly flabbergasted. You have to go watch that video.
Okay.
And
Well, now you've got
see
me.
what they've done. It is, I mean, I don't want to tell you what all they've done because I really want y'all to go watch that video. It's wild what they did and what it looks like. I mean, it looks like a standard American diet food that you could get at a restaurant or in the frozen food section. It's banana sandwich, what it looks like. Phenomenal. And what's fun about it, the type of silicone pan that they used in one of the steps, I'm like, oh, I have that pan. I've had that pan for years. I'm going to pull that one out and do this with it.
Nice.
I'm so excited to try that out.
Yes. Everyone is assigned now to go watch that video as soon as our live stream is over.
You've been tasked with that.
Yes. Let's see. Beth says it's 57 in Vegas and I love it. It doesn't sound too bad. I wonder if it's sunny.
Oh, in the desert, I bet it's fantastic.
If it's sunny. Ooh, that'd be nice. Rickwin says, just finished my kombucha tea that I ferment. Oh, that's awesome. We'll switch to water for the rest of the day. Lynette had to buy ice trays because ice maker broke. That is a sad day. We still use ice trays because we haven't hooked up the water to our refrigerator from when we got it when we moved into this house. It's kind of sad.
Listen, the project house that contractors never get to is the one they live in themselves.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Actually, my husband just hung a brand new door on our bedroom.
Oh,
and it has a handle that works, like, because it had old doors, just like this one.
Yeah.
It's like you can't hardly see it, but it's just a really old door with like the glass handles, and they're cool because they're old, but they don't work well. And so he finally got a nice one hung on our bedroom door. So he is doing stuff that is important.
It's a very slow roll.
It's, one step at a time.
Right. Yeah, you've got like all those kids that chirp about being hungry from time to time, and
every day they want food.
Sometimes hooking up the water in the fridge is not making the list for that day.
Exchange student says, I've learned not to look at roadkill. Yeah, it's not pleasant. Let's see.
I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't point it out to the girls, and whenever they see it, I'm like, well, this is part of the the way the world is right now. So let's not desensitize, but let's at least not be squeamish about it.
Right. Sing It is here, catching up on 2X. Chipmunks.
Love a good 2X. Should I laugh for her?
Yeah.
That one's real.
Okay. Progress and Transformation says, I drink 1 large mug of coffee with cream and a gallon of Brita filtered water daily. I add 1 whole de-seeded lemon with peel. That sounds good. 1 teaspoon of ginger, 1/2 teaspoon iodized salt, and 1 teaspoon of potassium blended. That sounds very
like it's almost
nutritious and healthy, and probably what we all should be doing.
Well, yeah, I think I would be running to the bathroom about every 8 minutes if I drink that much water. I mean, like, I get it. You probably spread it out.
Yes. And you'd get used to it after a while too. Your body would adjust. Yeah. Ginger is so good. It's such a good thing to add for digestion and stuff. That would be a really good thing to add too. So a ginger chocolate element or electrolyte would be really good.
I mean, we could try just to add a little pinch of the ginger powder. Oh, I had bought ginger root a while ago, and I wound up freezing a lot. Like, I juiced the ginger and turned it into little ice cubes. I bet adding like ginger juice would really make for a good punch.
I bet it would.
And when I say juice, I mean I just literally blended it into water and then strained the pulp myself. I didn't put it through a juicer or anything like that.
Yeah, that would be really good. Ginger is delicious and so good for you.
Oh, have you ever actually licked like a peeled piece of ginger before, like raw
Don't think
ginger?
I have.
It's an experience.
Okay, I'll have to try that.
I'm
Roots
not
are so
it's just an experience.
it's amazing how much flavor can be in roots like turmeric and horseradish and ginger,
Oh,
like, they're intense.
I love horseradish. Love it.
I wonder what that, like, uh, is it bitter? I don't know what because like, even radishes, they have that bite to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what that is. Why
Mm.
do roots have that? Because it's a common theme, like that zing. It's like interesting. Oh, Risa got her chocolate medley sample packs yesterday, not sharing. Love the chocolate chai. Yep, I like that one too. Wish they would make a box of just that. Yeah, a lot of people want a box of just the chocolate mint. That one I've heard many times. And some people, don't like a specific flavor, so it's annoying to have to buy a box that has 10 of a flavor you don't like in order to get the one that you do like. So I totally get that. I do like that they made the chocolate caramel buy a full box. And so if it gets popular enough, I bet they'll make a full box of it. And I wonder if chocolate mint is close to getting popular enough. So I do like the chocolate chai. I just find that if I'm using it, I'm putting it into chai tea. So I don't, it doubles up on the chai, but yeah. So I can just use chocolate and kind of get the same effect, but I do really like the chocolate chai flavor. I just need to find a better way to use it where I'm not instead of maybe if I put it into hot chocolate, that would be good.
Mm.
I'll have to try that. Let's see. Sing It says, oh, Javi, is it Javi? Javi brownie batter
Yeah.
and decaf coffee, so half calf. Okay,
Mm.
that sounds good.
I've seen the Javi thing. Like I saw that maybe 5, 7 years ago or so. I saw that come out. Maybe that wasn't quite
Mhm,
that long ago.
mhm.
But to me, I was just like, why would I get such concentrated coffee that stays in the fridge and then have to go in and warm it up after the
Yeah,
heat?
I didn't
I
get that.
wouldn't feel very well.
I got multiple messages from them, trying to
Yeah.
get me on as a influencer partner,
Yeah.
and I was like, "I don't that's not I'm not drawn to that, sorry."
I'd much rather brew my coffee personally,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I love those things where, like, "Isn't it too difficult and annoying to XYZ?" And you're like, "No, I don't mind making
I
coffee. It's
I actually find
fun."
enjoyment in the process.
Yeah, yeah. It's like trying to solve a problem you don't have.
Yeah.
Or convince you that it is a problem when you don't think it is.
Right.
And I'm like, "No, I'm fine with how my coffee is.
I'm
It's easy
very
enough."
content.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than if you get the whole cow and you choose to, use the bones for broth. Could you buy bone broth from the store? Sure.
Of course.
But I also enjoy the process of DIYing things.
Right. And there are plenty of things where I enjoy or I, take advantage of someone else doing the work for me, where it's
Sure.
worth it for me to pay a little bit extra, like we talked about, uh, uh, electrolytes. It's like and I made a video, a few years ago where I did a DIY recipe, in the video, and then I talked about why I still purchase this is even before I tried LMNT, so it wasn't even in there, but I talked about why I still purchase the expensive electrolytes when it's so easy and cheap to make your own. And it's for convenience and for the flavor. Like I don't have the flavoring to make it taste delicious. And so both of those things in combination make it worth it for me, at this time to purchase the flavored electrolytes. Different time might have different priorities or whatever, but and so like you said, for some people it might be worth it to pay someone else to make their bone broth for them because they're in a season of life where that makes sense. But then others not the same, and we all have, well, I shouldn't say we all, probably most of us have areas in which we pay other people to do the work for us, and we find it, worth it to do it ourselves. And everyone has a different list of, what they're good at, what they have the resources for, and
And just the desire to do.
Sure. Yeah. And so judging people for not DIYing the things that you DIY, that let's just not do that.
I mean, some people really like to sew their own clothes. It's probably a lot less expensive to go buy things off a rack than have to create clothes for yourself, unless you're like thrifting and upcycling. But, some people just have that passion. And I mean, if we didn't have our passions, we'd be pretty boring.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we get milk from a local farm here, and because their passion is cows and milking cows, and we bring eggs to them to sell to other customers. And so it's like, it feels so right to like be, trading and using your resources and trading for their resources. It just feels right.
Yeah.
So, and because we don't have a cow, and we don't really have space for a cow. Is everything okay?
It's just a little stampede in the hallway. It's fine. Okay. Everything is fine.
It's your milk cow stampeding the hallway.
I mean, I hear like tiny little giggles, so nobody is hurt. Now they're gasping for air with laughter.
Oh dear. Oh
they
dear.
Really,
well, your husband is saying that we should let it go like Elsa.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that's the element thing. Yeah. Dustin is here. Good morning, Dustin. And he had some info here. He says Rob Wolf told him that he didn't like how acacia gum tasted. That's interesting. Which it does have a different, like salty electrolytes definitely have a different taste and overall feel than other electrolytes made with the maltodextrin.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it does make sense that it would be different, feel different. And something made from a fiber versus made from a carbohydrate, a starch or a sugar. Exactly. Yeah. A starch or a sugar carbohydrate, that's going to have a different feel. I mean, we all know this from keto baking.
Yeah.
when you make something with oat fiber, it tastes different than when you make it with wheat flour. I'm just saying.
There is a chasm.
Yeah. And so I feel like, I mean, they've created a product that so many people are using and expect it to be a certain way. At this point, it probably would be really difficult to change it to such a degree that it tastes a lot different or has that different feel. So anyways, I'm letting them figure that all out, and we're just going to let it go. Okay. Except that Dustin has more to say. He told me that many months ago, back when I made my defense video, when he told him that back when he made his video when there was only 4 milligrams, or when they said there was only 4 milligrams of maltodextrin. Exchange student is asking, have you bought Redmonds in a big bulk bag? And is that the salt, I'm assuming? How do you buy your salt, Lindsey?
If it's the salt, I buy it in the 25-pound bags.
Yeah.
I'm committed. That's why.
Right.
And then I need to replace some of our seasonings, but I like to buy them in the big, like big tall container for any of their seasoning blends that I buy. I don't buy a ton of those. Generally the seasoned salt is the one that I have the most often.
Yeah.
I think I might invest in some of the lemon pepper this go around. Good. But yes, that's the way I buy the salt. Yeah. And fortunately we have a dry, cool space to keep that volume of salt. So It doesn't get like clumpy or absorb moisture and then become a solid rock again. Yes.
Do you just do the fine salt or do you do kosher salt?
No, I do the fine salt.
Okay.
I keep it real simple. Yeah.
I have had the idea that would be a funny little meme to do, to have the bag of Redmond fine salt and it says it's fine, and someone responding saying, "Don't sell yourself short. You are more than just fine. You are spectacular."
That's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't executed on that one yet. So I buy my salt in the 10-pound bags. They have a nice resealable top, which I really like. It would be nice to have like a food grade bucket to, just get the 25-pound bag.
And
But
then
you
like
can
a
get
dedicated like small vessel filler.
yes.
Mm.
But you can get the kosher salt or the fine salt. So I have both in the 10-pound bags in my pantry that I just refill from.
I was going to ask, when do you choose to use kosher salt versus using the fine salt?
It's if I want that texture, like the crunch.
Oh, okay.
So it's good on meat. You can use it as like a finishing salt, although I also have the Malden's flake salt, which is a good finishing salt, but the kosher salt works for that too. And then like the kids made sourdough pretzels the other
Oh,
day and they
yeah.
use salt on there. So yeah, there's just I tend to use the fine salt more, but it is good for certain applications.
Sure.
Yeah, and then as far as so their electrolytes come in tubs, which is nice. They come in tubs and in the stick packs, which is nice to have both of those options. But I don't think that's what you were talking about. And then the seasonings, I also tend to use the seasoned salt the most, and I buy the big giant things. I did buy a giant thing of the lemon pepper and the garlic pepper, but I don't go through that nearly as fast. I will say about the lemon pepper, it comes same as with the garlic pepper. It comes really coarse and
Okay.
you can grind it. Like they have a little grinder that you can get to, but it's really good coarse also. So
Yeah.
depending on, the application, it's really yummy if you just use it coarse straight from the package.
Very
So there you
cool.
go. All good.
Very good.
Yes. Jen is here. Good day. Just joining. Let's see. Jared wants to know what the topic is for today. We have to have a topic.
I think that was back when he was trying to get us to let go of holding on to the element situation.
I did not sign up to have a topic every week. That's not what we're here for.
I mean, fair. I feel like talking about the salt's pretty good. Yeah. I love Redmond salt. So good.
Jen says drinking Diet Coke because it helps when I feel nausea. I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. She says she has gastroparesis. That is not very fun. Not very fun. And that, you got to do what you got to do to get through that stuff. Like this is one thing that I had on my mind last week to talk about this week. And then the whole element stuff kind of blew up. And now if we talk about it, it'll seem like it's because of the element drama. But I actually had it in my mind last week before we started. But the idea that we have to get to this level of perfection primarily in the foods we eat, but even in just all these other lifestyle things where, and I definitely have been through this in my journey where once you start down the health path and you kind of learn some things about the foods you eat and the lifestyle choices that you make that really are incredibly life-changing. Like you make these certain changes and they just transform your life. And you're like, what else can I do that would how far can we go with this? And so I know for me, I went on the Atkins diet. I dropped a whole bunch of weight real fast. I, transformed my health and I was like, well, let's just keep on going. And then once you get into the world of health and this, the diet world, the nutrition world, you start learning about all the things that are going to kill you, all the
Every
things
one
that
of
you need to add, all the supplements, all the lifestyle things. You need to do this kind of exercise and that kind of exercise, and you need to go grounding, and you need to get the sunlight, and you need to drink this kind of water. And if you drink that kind of water, it's going to kill you.
Also, make sure that you do early time restricted feeding, but also make sure you OMAD and have dinner with your family, because that's how you make sure that you have gotten that social bucket and social health filled. So
But then fasting will also kill you. So
it definitely
don't do
does
any
that.
of that.
But
And
make sure
then
you set
you're
an alarm
eating
to wake
too
up.
much.
Yeah, but wake up at 2 a.m. to make sure you have a snack. Otherwise, your body might go comatose. We don't know.
Yeah.
You got to do it all.
And, and if you have extra weight on your body, it's obvious that you're eating too much. But then
Definitely.
also, you've been
You're
under eating for
starved.
so long that that your metabolism is completely spent. Also,
Folks, I got to let you know, we have had these conversations long before this element thing has happened. And
yes.
we make fun of this regularly in our conversations beyond our live streams. And I feel like we have touched delicately here and there on this topic, but there is so much to try to glean, then like assimilate into your mind, and then to act on when it comes to all of these health and wellness things. And it's just like, I wonder what it was like back in, I don't know, 1802, when you're just trying to survive,
Yeah.
going from one place to the next. And you're like, well, that looks like food. Well, it didn't kill Gin Bob over there, so I'm going to go ahead and eat that.
Yeah. Trying to thrive can actually be really exhausting. And the idea of just like day by day, just trying to survive, there's something appealing about that.
There, kind of like how it's appealing to you to have the exchange of, I sell my egg, or I allow this dairy farmer to sell my eggs to whomever comes into their co-op, or however they do set that up. And you go and you buy your milk from them, probably using some of the funds from those eggs that were sold. And it's very simple. And it's it's so low key. And I love that. And it's not low stress, but it's low key. It's not going to kill you to go and buy these things or trade these things. It's just people doing life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, there's this saying, and the first person I heard it from was Rob Wolf. Funnily enough. But this, and I'm sure he wasn't the first one to coin it, but that's just the first person I heard it from years and years ago. And that is, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, and I had to come to this in my own journey. And I still, have to try to tease it out as we go along. But it's just the idea that there is no such thing as perfection in this life, in our diet, in our lifestyle, in
the
our
companies we buy
environment.
products from.
Exactly. And I have to learn how to live my best life within an imperfect system and environment. It's like if I did go down this path where it's like I find out that there's something bad about X. So okay, we got to cut X out. There's something, and then we find out there's something bad about Y. We have to cut that out. It's like you get to the point where you're paralyzed and you can't do anything. And I've been there where it's like I have my diet down to these 3 foods, and I can't eat anything besides that because everything else has something bad in it. And I had to get honest with myself and say, first of all, there could be something bad in everything that we eat, no matter how perfect you think it is. I mean, grass-fed, panda massage, beef liver, we could find something bad about it, if we looked hard
The amount
enough.
of resources alone that it takes to get that. What an elitist thing to buy.
Seriously. Yeah. Well, and then you're going to get vitamin A toxicity. So there's that. Anyways,
And do the pandas even want to be in those working conditions?
I know, like slave pandas, that sounds terrible. I'm not
There's
going to
something
put
wrong
my
with it.
So anyways, so the idea that there is no such thing as perfection.
But
On
we're
top
seeing
of that, I had to recognize that my body is built to be able to handle some things that are less than perfect.
yes.
And that actually having some less than perfect things can be a benefit to your body, kind of like exercise, where it tears your body down in a certain way. And then you allow your body to be built up in a certain way in response to it. So, like getting yourself to this state of perfection can actually have some detriments because you're not exercising certain aspects of your digestion or whatever.
Mhm.
It's the same kind of thing with sanitation, where obviously unsanitary conditions have really bad negatives about them, clearly, but then also going completely the other direction and having everything sterile all the time can have really bad issues as well. There's this like happy medium where it's like we're exposed to enough of the bad stuff that our body can learn how to handle it. And if we, go down the hand sanitizer path too far, it can really have some detrimental effects. And so for me, is like I had to give up the idea that my savior in whatever health or body image issues that I was having would come from um, getting to whatever state of perfection in my diet or lifestyle. I had to give that up and then learn how to be okay with things that are less than perfect and figure out the balance of, what I needed to give up or not in order to live my best life and be the healthiest that I could be. It was different than I was making decisions on what I eat or do based on something different than is it perfect or not, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. I was making decisions about what I would eat based on how it would make my body feel. That's definitely one thing. The nutrients that it would give me, definitely. But then also, how will eating this help me connect with the people around me? So that became, a more important factor that I considered in the foods that I eat. Um, and I mean, there's a whole list of things, but it shifted from, is this perfect nutrition? Is this a perfect food for me that will make my body everything I want it to be? To this whole list of other criteria that was way more inclusive, way more like holistic, if you want to use that word, about my entire life and environment. And like it was a big shift. And I think I had to do it for my own sanity, or else I would have gotten to the place of, I don't know, OCD or what-
Worse.
yeah, the what's the when you're obsessed with health, um orthorexia, that kind of thing, where it's like I am paralyzed, I can't do anything unless it's the absolute perfect thing for my health. Yeah, I definitely could see it going that direction and just giving up the idea that perfection is even possible in this.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference. Because when you're just holding on to that, it's like you get to the point of paralysis.
Absolutely. And as we enter into the holidays, really, I mean, tomorrow's Halloween, and then it just keeps going on from there. It's an avalanche of holiday festivities. And we can kind of get to the point where we stop engaging with our people or with our environment to a degree whenever it's supposed to be some sort of like, okay, we're supposed to be enjoying one another. We're supposed to be having fellowship here. We're supposed to be just coming together for some like some joint experience or what have you. And it becomes paralyzing, like you said, to overanalyze every tiny little thing to the point where I might as well just never go and do anything. And I think that isolation in this life is very, very detrimental to our health. I personally have seen how it looks like isolation is more detrimental than choosing the wrong food.
Mm.
And it's just like,
Depending on where you are with your health.
I mean, yeah, but if you've got somebody who is, you know, obese and type 2 diabetic and has, you know, some sort of cardiovascular issues and just like left, right, and center, you leave them alone, even if they have, you know, access to perfect food. I mean, are they really going to do better than the person who, or than that same set of situations, like engaged in community, engaged with their family, even if it's like not quite perfect, but it's trying? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. And I feel
Yeah.
like this the season of being together, and you know, like, yes, it's stressful with some people in your personal circle, and yes, it's really good with some people in your personal circle. And you know, people matter a little bit more than perfect food. So I mean, I'm still gonna say like no thank you to the food dyes, and as much as I can the seed oils.
Mhm.
But if it's like, hey, you know, adding roasted sweet potatoes to this meal would really add to the enjoyment for everybody in my family, or in this, you know, in this setting, then I'm going to have those available. And I'm not going to try to evangelize somebody to say sweet potatoes are the devil. And I'm
Mhm.
also not going to like say, you know, I can never touch a sweet potato again. Because guess what? I can.
Yeah.
And I have. And it's okay. I haven't keeled over yet. Praise God.
It's
But
coming.
also
Don't worry.
it's coming. All that beta carotene is gonna get me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just,
And,
yeah.
like I always try to say, I'm talking about my own choices and my own
Right.
experience, and everyone has a different set of criteria. So
Yes.
if they this hypothetical person had some kind of a raging autoimmune disease where if they were to touch a nightshade, for example, it would send them into, you know, an autoimmune flare.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're gonna make different choices. Their priorities and their criteria are completely different. So, you know, if I was allergic to maltodextrin, for example, I would make a different choice about my electrolyte supplementation than, you know, I myself currently, who is not allergic to maltodextrin and seems to have no negative effects from it. Like we all get to make our own um, choices depending on our criteria. And I just had to come to the point of really being honest with myself. There was a point where I was on like a crazy restrictive that there's that word again, restrictive, but it was I was restricting a lot. um it was an elimination diet, and it was so like narrow in the amount of foods that I could have. And I just remember thinking, this is the kind of it wasn't even just a restrictive. It was like the paleo medicina type, really high fat, really zero carb, animal based. Anyways, and I just thought, this is what people who are dying of cancer do to help, you know, to try to get like I'm not in that place. Why am I having like putting on myself that I have to be on this extreme diet that someone would use to try to heal cancer? Why am I doing that? Like that doesn't match. That doesn't make sense. And I had to have that kind of come to Jesus moment, like, this isn't the right choice for me. And that's, you know, that's saying me. If I was that person that just got diagnosed with cancer, I might be making a very different choice, and it might be the right choice for me. But I had to be like, why am I living my life like I have all of these extreme conditions, which I don't have? That's not right. There's something wrong here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I look to Michaela Peterson and her sharing her testimony and her
Yes.
story. And that is phenomenal. I do not have those conditions whatsoever. But if I had not heard that information in any time prior to hearing her speak, then I would think, that's the ticket right there. I need to do that because clearly that's what worked for her. Um, it sounds like it could work for me too. So I should go live like Michaela Peterson, even though I'm not assessing what my current start point is. Like we're all at different checkpoints in the Mario Kart race. So why are we acting like we're all back at square one? Um, it's just not conducive to anybody to sit there and say, I'm going to start where the person who has the most extreme experience where they are, because I don't have the most extreme experience. And that's something that you and I've talked about in the past as well, is that we have this space where everybody listens to a lot of people's stories, and a lot of people's stories, they're kind of just everyday stories. So why would those stories get any traction? They just kind of don't, because that's pretty normal, run of the mill. Like, oh, I wanted to lose 15 pounds and here's a few extra things that happened on top of that. Yay. But then it's like the stories that are so extreme, they are the ones that wind up getting so much face time and so much exposure, which is
Right.
amazing to see. Like, this is the depth at which this thing could go. So if it's able to help someone, is it possible that a few steps backwards might be able to help someone with a lesser severe experience? And it's challenging, because I think there are more of us out here that are moderately okay,
Mm-hmm.
who could use a moderately effective diet and not have to fully upheave our entire lives in
Right.
order to try to achieve something that will never be perfect.
Right. Well, and I think there is the idea that there is this perfection of a diet. And of course, the people that need the most help get the most help when they go as perfect as possible. But if it's perfect, then everyone should be doing it. Like there's this, and I had this idea. Well, it's like, well, if that's the diet that helps the people that are the sickest, then that's got to be the most ideal diet for everyone. I got to the point where I accepted that extreme of a diet actually does have some negative effects. And this is where it gets controversial. And just because it helps the people that have these extreme issues doesn't mean that there couldn't be some negative effects that could come from the diet, either long term, short term, whatever. I let go of the idea that there was just a perfect diet for everyone. Um, I'm more of the mindset of tools. There are lots of different tools out there, and these extreme diets are a great tool for certain people who have certain issues, but they are not the be all end all. And those people using those tools may need to use other tools in the future. Or they may have to live with certain negatives that are coming from using that tool, but for them, it's worth it because of, the health issues that they're dealing with. So it's way more complicated. I think we all want this really simple, like,
Tidy.
you know, yeah, it's just like bad, good. Good, everything, good happens when you go on the good side. And it's just like, I'm sorry. It sounds good and it feels good when you first buy in, but you go down the road for any length of time and you recognize that, I mean, things just come up, and you just have to, if you're going to be honest with yourself, you have to, like, open your eyes and and acknowledge it. At least that's what I had to do in my own journey, and kind of try to figure out, okay, well, it does, you have to dismantle your mindset a little bit. And I've gone through this so many times in my health journey, where it's like I was on a path, the thing that made sense to me. And then you encounter things that don't align with that mindset, and you have to kind of dismantle everything and be like, okay, this piece I think is still true. And this has helped me, but this ended up not being the true thing. Like for me, for example, I was on keto and carnivore and had the idea that it is ideal for humans to eat as few carbs as possible. And I had that mindset and I, went down that path and I ran into some things that challenged that. And I didn't just completely throw out everything I learned in my keto carnivore experience. I was able to keep certain things, but I had to kind of dismantle everything, decide what still fit in my framework, and then add in other things that I was like, okay, well, maybe if that piece wasn't true for me, then I need to pull in this piece. And I'm constantly doing that. Like, I move forward, like right where I'm at right now, adding in carbs and things. It's like I've done that dismantling and kind of rebuilding. I move forward and I have no doubt that there will be something else that comes up that challenges my worldview in the future. And I'll have to dismantle again and pull in the pieces that still ring true for me and then bring in the new stuff that, I'm going to add in and try to work through. And then, that's just the journey of it. And, I'm kind of jealous of the people that seem to have found exactly what is right for them and they just plow forward and do that for the rest of their life and everything turns out perfect. That sounds great. And there are people out there who, give that story. But unfortunately that's not me. And I think it's not a lot of people. And so I hope that when we share, we can be an encouragement to those who are on the journey rather than those that have just found their destination and just stay
I don't disagree. And one of the things that makes me think about is just how flexibility is a skill set that we would be well advised to develop.
there.
Being able to have a flexible mindset, like hold the truths to be true, and also be willing to let them be challenged,
Yes.
and be willing to accept other information that's coming in and start to assimilate and think critically about that.
Mm-hmm.
But
All right. Well, we are already over an hour.
we sure are.
I'm like little bit halfway in the chat. I want to make sure we don't miss anything that we really need to address. I want to say hi to Ron. Ron has a new channel name for his new Weight Watchers journey. Sing It says brownie batter, anything while within keto is worth it. Just a teaspoon in my hot decaf coffee is delicious. So it must be, it's like a concentrated coffee, but also with brownie batter flavoring.
I think that's one of the things that Javi does is they have flavored coffee concentrates that you then dilute, and you can either have them as iced coffees or you can have them as hot coffees. I think that is at least what I remember their premise being a few years back.
I mean, brownie batter is pretty great. Racine, your chats are awesome. Cheers. Your grocery hauls, chats, what I eat in a day, and recipes. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Let's
in Canada.
Oh yes. Okay, Beth says she used Javi all summer for iced coffee. I can see that being a really good way to use it. But then Sing It was saying she just added it to like a teaspoon to her decaf coffee. So that, I mean, I bet
that would be kind of coffee. Adding a flavored espresso shot or something. Is probably what that would be equivalent to.
Let's see. Exchange to says, I do couponing, yet I am a product snob in certain things. Oh, certainly. Definitely. You gotta be, because they're different. I mean, yeah.
Just because it saves you a buck doesn't mean it actually saves you a buck if you don't like the product itself.
To do that. Let's see.
She buys the coarse salt.
Oh, coarse salt. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sing It says not attempting brownie batter coffee flavor on her own. Wedding dress was 62. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh wow.
That is amazing. Autumn, my daughter, she got her wedding dress at Goodwill for, I don't
That's
remember how much, like
awesome.
$10 or something ridiculous. And it was so cute. It was so cute.
Some people have really good finding skills when it comes to thrift stores. I am not that people.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't it's kind of a hobby for some people where it's like, oh, they just go to the
Yeah.
thrift, because you kind of have to. You can't just go to a thrift store to look for one specific thing and find it. You go to like see what's there, and it's like
And I'm that person that's
treasure
like, I'm
hunting.
on mission to
Yeah.
find X, Y, and Z, and I'm not
Yes.
interested in the time it takes. I don't want to
Yeah,
do
it's a
that.
different mindset. I do understand the appeal of it though. It's kind of fun, kind of like treasure hunting. Um, oh, nice. Risa says, go to the bakery section of a supermarket. They should have buckets they want to get rid of. That's very cool. It's a good idea. Let's see.
I was thinking like the feed stores, but they're like not human food grade, but food grade,
Sure, yeah, Home Depot.
or like a restaurant supply store.
Yes, true, true.
Maybe
Okay,
a good spot.
Jared, you're just trying to cause trouble here.
You
The
had to
difference
know.
between element and LMNT, well, it's when you add your element to your
Try.
food, obviously. Beverly is reminding everyone to leave us a thumbs up if you enjoy the chat. Thank you so much. Can you taste the difference between regular and decaf? I cannot. I just know when I start climbing the walls.
Fair.
I can taste the difference. And it's not even so much like I take a sip and I'm like, "Oh, that tastes different." It's more of a passive thing. I will take a sip and then I will set it down and I will not continue to drink it. It's weird. It's actually really weird. When I started going decaf, it was just like my body just didn't drive me to pick up the cup to drink it, which is, oh, that's so bizarre.
I mean, it sounds kind of like you used to have a caffeine addiction,
Well, I
and
definitely still do.
caffeine wasn't there. You didn't feel driven to go get it. I mean,
You know,
I don't care
caffeine
if
in your diet is bad and everyone should cut it out.
also it's proven that it can be very beneficial for some people. So you have to put it in.
And you can only be perfect if you do all of the things.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So therefore, you need to have coffee and you need to abstain from coffee. And then
It's
your life will be
counterintuitive, but just go with it. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
perfect. Yeah, Kelly says, you guys are cracking me up. You are absolutely correct. Everything is going to kill us according to someone. Yes, that is like the message of diet social media these days. Like that's what gets the clicks. Like that's the clickbait now. This thing is going to kill you. 5 things you need to give up in order to get rid of your belly fat. Like that's
Give up
that's
stress.
just it. Fear
Give up being awake.
sells. Fear sells. Okay, we are really going over time
We
here.
really are.
Yes.
We,
Oh,
Chris and Miriam popped into the chat. So hi
oh
y'all.
my guys.
And they said things, but I see Racine here at the very, very tail end. She had a quick question
Okay.
that might take us 28 seconds to respond to. And then
Just
we'll
real
have
quick,
to.
Kenny did ask, what ratio
Oh,
ingredients
yeah.
do you guys suggest for a smoothie made with Greek yogurt and KetoChow? I have not made a smoothie with Greek yogurt and KetoChow. Have you?
No, but I would imagine putting like a 1/2 cup to 1 cup of Greek yogurt, then your serving of KetoChow, and then maybe milk, or not milk, I'm sorry, milk alternative or water or whatever you prefer to use, up to probably about a total to fill it up to a 24 ounce kind
Yeah.
of a volume. Maybe
Yeah.
that might be too thin. You'd need ice.
I would
Maybe.
do the like you said, a 1/2 cup to a cup of Greek yogurt, then add, 1/2 cup to a cup of water, kind of blend that, see what the texture is like, and
That's
then
fair.
keep adding water to whatever texture.
Or ice if you wanted it frosty.
Right. But yeah, if you just mix Greek yogurt with KetoChow, it is so thick. It is like frosting.
You do have to add some fat to that.
Oh,
to
and
thin
yeah,
out a little.
if the Greek yogurt doesn't have fat already, Definitely add some fat, and then you're going to want to have some kind of a liquid to thin it out if you want it to be anything like a smoothie. Okay. Gotta hurry up. Chris Bear being real late. It's disappointing. Well, I watched their live stream last night after it was completely over, so you at least beat me on that front. Everyone likes me because I brought Miriam. Yep, it's true. Yeah.
I mean, at least you know.
Yeah. And
also, all I read was like, everyone likes you.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's because of Miriam. You chose Miriam.
Accurate.
Okay.
Goodness,
So
like
here we go. Last question here. Just a quick question. I just did a successful 5-day egg fast. How often do you possibly do the fast? Once a month. Thanks. Yes. Lindsey, go.
I only use them when I want to simplify my food choices, to be honest. So there is no routine to it, no rhythm to it. And I personally think that is actually more beneficial for your body to just like surprise it with that rather than having it on a set schedule. So I do them randomly. And I want to say probably at this stage of the game, once every like 4 to 6 months.
Yeah. I don't have any kind of a set time that I do them. I've experimented with them before, but it's not like a regular thing that I do. I would say like if you did 1 day of an egg fast per week, that'd probably be fun. Like there's all kinds of ways you can do it. My only suggestion is make sure you're getting lots of nutrients and variety on the times that you're not doing the egg fast. So you wouldn't want to do it so often that you're not getting in variety and filling up all of your nutrient needs. So yeah, a 5-day egg fast. I mean, I probably wouldn't do that more than once or twice a month at the most.
Month?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
woo!
A 5-day. I mean, I'm saying I wouldn't do it more than twice a month. That would be too much.
I'm thinking 5 days worth of egg fast, like once a quarter, once every half year.
But I'm saying you probably wouldn't get nutrient deficiencies doing it once a month.
Okay. Good clarification.
I mean, more than twice a month and you're really pushing it. But if you have a ton of weight to lose, it might be a really good strategy to cycle it in. Anyways, there's all kinds of ways you can do it. My only thing is make sure you're getting enough nutrition other times because there's all kinds of nutrients that you need for your body to function well. And when you don't have them, it is not fun. Let's just say that. Okay. All right. Chris Bear's saying something here.
He's distracting us when we're trying to end.
I have no illusions that people like me because I hang out with Miriam. Tricking her into breaking up with her boyfriend and getting engaged to me in 2.5 weeks after we met is my pinnacle accomplishment. You know what? There's nowhere else to go from that. It's like you did it. You won at life. Oh, I love it. Okay. We have gotten to hop off of here. We will be back next week. Everyone have a fun Halloween if that's something you enjoy. And I mean, have a fun day tomorrow, no matter what it is that you.
I mean, it's Thursday, which means it's pre-Friday, which means it's almost the weekend. So if you work a standard schedule.
Have a great Thursday tomorrow. Enjoy the candy if that's what you choose to do. Enjoy abstaining if that's what you choose to do. And we'll just see you next week in November.